Father Raphael stood before the wrought iron gates of the hacienda, its rusted bars entangled with vines. The sprawling house beyond loomed in eerie silence, its once grand facade now crumbling under the weight of time. Behind him, the caretaker of a neighboring property hovered nervously, unwilling to step closer. "I can't go in," he whispered, his voice quivering. "The statues, they watch you. Sometimes, they move." Raphael offered a reassuring nod, though unease coiled in his chest. Clutching his bag, he pushed open the groaning gates and strode toward the house, its towering silhouette a dark blot against the overcast sky. The grand double doors creaked open, revealing a cavernous entryway cloaked in shadow. Cobwebs draped the high ceiling like shrouds, and the air was thick with the scent of mildew and dust. Every step echoed loudly as the warped floorboards groaned beneath Raphael's weight. In the living room, the remnants of faded opulence lay in disarray. Heavy drapes hung limply over tall windows, letting in faint slivers of light. The ornate furniture, covered in layers of dust, seemed to sag under decades of neglect. A massive fireplace stood against one wall, its surface defaced by crude symbols etched in soot and ash. Scattered around were remnants of dark rituals, melted black candles, a pentagram scrawled in chalk, and bones that looked far too human. But what dominated the room were the statues along the far wall, a life-size depiction of the Last Supper. The sculptures were unnervingly lifelike, their eyes painted with such precision they seemed to glimmer in the dim light. Their expressions, once serene, appeared subtly distorted, as if frozen mid-sneer. Elsewhere, smaller statues of saints stood on shelves, their chipped faces twisted into accusatory glares. Raphael crossed himself, the hairs on his neck bristling. The oppressive stillness of the house seemed to grow heavier with each passing moment. Returning to the living room, Raphael opened the Book of Blessings. His stomach dropped, every page was blank. He flipped through desperately, but not a single prayer remained. The air turned icy, and a shadow seemed to ripple across the room. Raphael's gaze snapped to the Last Supper statues. The apostles, once seated serenely, now appeared to lean forward. Their eyes blazed with a malevolent light. Their mouths stretched into subtle, mocking grins. "Father," a whisper hissed from nowhere. Raphael spun around. The saint statues seemed closer, their cracked faces locked in grimaces of disdain. Behind him, the apostles loomed unnaturally tall, their sculpted hands reaching toward him. The light dimmed, and the statues' eyes glowed brighter. Piercing through the shadows, Raphael staggered backward, clutching his crucifix as the weight of their stares crushed him. The house wasn't just haunted, it was alive. The evil here was watching, waiting, and ready to strike.